World Championship team on Friday, May 27th through Sunday, May 29th. The Mets take on the Dodgers. Great promotions highlight the entire weekend, including a special pregame on-field ceremony on Saturday night beginning at 6:15 p.m. Closed captioning for Mets baseball brought to you by Sideline. Today's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Mets bullpen has outperformed expectations so far. In fact, they have the lowest bullpen earned run average in the National League so far this season. Leading the way to that bullpen, the Mets' extraordinary starting staff. Jacob DeGrom on the hill today. His first pitch coming right up. And Jacob DeGrom ready to put his stamp on it.
Just swiped it, ready to go.
Starting lineup for the Giants this afternoon. No Joe Panic. He tweaked a groin muscle trying to beat out a play in the 9th inning last night. And so Kelby Tomlinson gets the start at second base. Angel Pagan moves up to the 2-hole. And that's the lineup the Giants will send out against Jacob DeGrom this afternoon.
Gary, I know in his last start you mentioned this in the game. I think it's worth repeating. 4th best ERA since he made his debut behind Arrieta, Kershaw, and Greinke. In his first 54 starts as a New York Met, he has 25 career wins.
And he has been especially dominant in this ballpark. 26 career starts at Citi Field, a 1.86 earned run average.
Defense for the Mets this afternoon. Conforto, Cespedes, and Granderson in this 4-10 game.
Or 405 anyway.
Well,
first pitch to Darth Span is up and away.
Sorry,
for ball one.
The defense is at 410. Flores, Cabrera, Walker, and Duda, and Rene Rivera behind the plate.
Mets debut for Rivera, who was just called up when Travis d'Arnaud went on the DL. Ball and a strike to Span, who was 1 for 3 with a pair of walks last night. Span coming back from hip surgery in the offseason, and he has just started to hit his stride. Angel Pagan on deck, then Matt Duffy against DeGrom. who misses away. 2 balls and a strike. Well, the Giants got obliterated last night, 13-1, after sweeping a series from San Diego. So much like the Mets, who figured they were stepping up in class for this series, the Giants probably feeling the same way. DeGrom falls behind Span, 3-1. Jacob has not walked a batter through his first 2 starts over 11 2/3 innings, pitching at Citi Field for the first time since the home opener against the Phillies. And Span cracks one out to left field, and Conforto is out there. 1 out.
Well, all of these Mets pitchers have their strengths, Gary. But I think the real strength of Jacob DeGrom is that of all the pitchers in their rotation, when he has his B game, he can still win. Really knows how to change it up when he doesn't have his best stuff.
Well, we saw that consistently over his first 2 years in the big leagues, but we probably saw it more than any other time in Game 5 against the Dodgers last year.
Yeah, I thought a lot of times in the postseason, at least particular innings, he did not have his best stuff.
Here's Angel Pagano, homered for the only Giants run last night. I mean, the first game against the Dodgers, he was just completely dominant.
That's right.
Game 5, remember, he gave up 4 hits in the first inning of that game and looked like he might not get out of the first. Good changeup by DeGrom, and Pagan loses his helmet trying to chase it.
That's the changeup grip, circle changeup after the high fastball, and Pagan not even close.
And Angel chases another changeup, and it's 1-2.
It's almost like he changed up on the changeup there. Took a little more off and kept it down on the knees. I mean, just great movement.
Would you triple up on that pitch now?
I think you'd try one fastball up out of the strike zone just to change the speed up.
And he blows him away with the fastball. DeGrom strikes out Pagan, 2 men down.
See, what happens, Gary, is you throw 3 changeups in a row, they're no longer changeups because it's the same speed. So occasionally you have to mix in the high heater and then go back to the change if Angel had not swung at that pitch.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Matt Duffy. Duffy 1 for 3 last night. He's been hot last 10 games, hitting .395. He's been hot particularly since Bruce Bochy moved him up to the 3-hole. And DeGrom throws a fastball for a strike.
From Lakewood, California, the Mets had a catcher named Mike Fitzgerald, who was from Lakewood, California, traded in the big Gary Carter trade.
Duffy last year finished 2nd in the Rookie of the Year balloting, just 25 years old. Facing DeGrom, the former National League Rookie of the Year. And Duffy flies one to right. Granderson there. Side retired. 1-2-3 opening inning for Jacob DeGrom. Mets will go to work against Matt Cain when we come back. Always in fan-friendly mode as he gets set for his opening at bat.
Fist bump through the netting. That might be good for my germaphobe issues.
Curtis 1 for 4 last night, drove in a run, facing the veteran Matt Cain. And the first pitch fastball in for a strike. There's your Geico Mets starting lineup. Day off for David Wright. And so as Drupal Cabrera moves up to the 2-hole, Wilmer Flores gets a start, and Rene Rivera makes his Mets debut. And Cain misses high, 1-1.
Cain used to sit around 95 miles an hour as you see his Toyota numbers. Now more around 89, 90, maybe hit 91.
It's been a struggle for Cain, who's missed substantial portions of the last 2 years with injuries. Last year, forearm and elbow issues. Just 31 years old, so you wonder, can he make that transition to being less of a power pitcher? 2-2 now to Granderson.
Well, that was interesting. He threw a strike with the ball and then threw it out of play to get a new ball.
As Drupal Cabrera on deck, and then Michael Conforto in the opening inning. And Granderson laces one toward the middle of base hit. So a 2-2 changeup from Cain, and Granderson is aboard to start the Mets afternoon.
Well, just like we saw with Jake Peavy last night, both these pitchers have more hits to innings pitched. That's something you never would have seen before. The changeup grip from Cain. Maybe not enough off. Pretty good pitch, though. Just better hitting by Granderson.
So now as Drupal Cabrera up in the 2-hole with David Wright getting the day off. This was a planned day off for David against a pitcher who a number of years ago hit David in the head with a pitch. Cabrera gets jammed and flies one out to right field. And Hunter Pence with his sunglasses on snags it for the first out.
Defense for the Giants, our friend Angel Pagan in left field. Span, the newcomer, and Hunter Pence, their best player in right field. Around the infield, Kelby Tomlinson gets to start at second base. Joe Panik has a little bit of a leg issue, and Buster Posey behind the plate. He was taken out of the game early last night.
So here is Conforto, who is just swinging such a hot bat. Had a single, a double, and 2 RBIs in the 12-run third inning last night. Right now 7th in the National League in batting at .343. Tied for 2nd in the league in doubles with 10. In fact, Michael has doubled in 5 straight games, one shy of a Mets club record. Club record held by Virgin Islands native Joe Christopher. 1964. Joe Hiddens had doubles in 6 straight games. Ball and a strike to Conforto. Conforto and Cespedes have been a double shot of vitamin C in the Mets batting order. What a stretch these two are on.
Vitamin C and D. I will say I probably haven't started after a 12-run inning, but when you make the start as a starting pitcher and you watch the day before a team put up 12 runs in 1 inning, get your attention.
So what precautions can you possibly take? That's lined into right field, and Conforto's got himself another hit. Granderson will go first to third, and the Mets have runners at the corners. Does he seem to hit a line drive every single time up?
There's not many pitches he misses. Right on the plate, learns from every pitch. 2 changeups in a row. One he took for a ball, and this one in the same spot. He rockets to right field. To answer your question, Gary, really, the only thing you can do as Cain has watched the game last night. Peavy was behind everyone. He's got to not do that today. Granderson first to third. Nice running.
So the table's set for Cespedes. .23 RBIs in his last 13 games. Last night jumped the first pitch for that grand slam that capped the 12-run inning. This time takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, the Mets should notice what Cain's doing. Every hitter now has faced the first pitch fastball right down the middle. He's trying to jump ahead as quick as he can. Makes sense after last night.
Fooled him with the off-speed pitch, and it's 0-2. Granderson at third, Conforto at first with 1 out. Cespedes has gathered extra base hits now in 9 straight games, which is another new Mets club record. Broke the old mark that Ty Wigginton had held. And that includes a pinch hitting performance on Tuesday night. A memorable one as Kane strikes out Cespedes for the 2nd out. So Kane doing a good job getting him to chase.
Well, good intelligence by Matt Kane. Breaking balls in the strike zone, Cespedes owns, but he will chase the ball out of the strike zone, and he's caught fishing there by Kane.
So 2 out, and it's left to Lucas Duda. Was lost in everything that happened last night, but you know, Duda going into last night had only drawn 2 walks this year, which was really curious because he's usually a high on base percentage guy. Well, he walked his first 2 times up last night against Jake Peavy, both times on 3-2 pitches, so that perhaps is a good sign for Lucas.
Well, you go after a hitter if the guy behind you has 9 home runs in April, so that's one of the reasons he has not walked as much.
He had a 10-pitch walk in the course of that huge inning for the Mets last night that really served to set the table. Neil Walker would be next. Neil has 1 more day today to break the Mets club record for home runs in April. Kane ahead 0-2. And Duda takes high.
So 54-year record, your first year with the team, you break it in the first month.
Just in case you were wondering whether you're going to get a warm welcome. And Duda has to lean out of the way. 2-2.
Hardest fastball Kane's thrown this afternoon, put a little extra on it. So fastball up and in, change up away.
There was a time when Matt Kane was one of the most dominant pitchers in the game. He and Tim Lincecum headed a pitching staff that you shuddered to face, much the way the Mets staff is developing. 3-2 now to Duda. Lincecum is working out at the Giants facility in Arizona, but is still technically a free agent coming back from hip surgery. And you wonder whether he can return, but you see how dominant Kane was for that 4-year span. He made the All-Star team 3 times in those 4 years, but since, it's been an injury-plagued struggle. 3-2, Conforto will run, and Duda watches the changeup outside for ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Walker. So a first inning opportunity for Neil to do some damage. Had his first non-home run extra base hit last night. A run scoring double that knocked Jake Peavy out of the box. So a moment of truth early in this game for Matt Kane. Granderson at third, Conforto at second, Duda at first with 2 down. And Walker takes a strike.
All first pitch fastballs till Walker got up with the bases loaded here with 2 outs. First pitch change from Kane.
Kane really leaning on his changeup in this first inning, particularly against the left-hand hitters. And Walker hits the curveball down the right field line, just foul. That had bases clearer written all over it, but it just hooked away.
Well, almost hooked it and hit it too hard. Watch out there for the kid down the line. No chance.
See the career bases loaded numbers for Walker, including a couple of grand slams, the last in 2012. Third straight batter. Kane's gotten ahead of 0-2. He struck out Cespedes, lost Duda to a walk. Now he's 0-2 on Walker. And Neil breaks his bat and loops one. Tomlinson can't get it. Base hit. Granderson is in. Conforto right behind him. A 2-run broken bat hit for Neil Walker. And the Mets jump in front 2-0. When it rains, it pours.
Well, this is part of what happens when you have an offense that's rolling, is that the balls tend to fall in even when you don't hit them hard. Tomlinson was shaded that way. That's the only way he got even close to that baseball. And of course, right now for the Mets, they're falling in.
Mets have now scored first in 14 of their last 16 games as they just keep on rolling. Now Wilmer Flores getting a start at third base today with David Wright getting the day off. First and third and 2 out, and Flores takes a strike.
Looked like a little cutter up and in, and it got right on the label. But Walker's strong enough, and the Mets fortunate enough right now for that ball to fall in.
Wilmer Flores trying to get going after a nightmarish start, just 2 for 23 to begin the year.
That hit by Walker discounts anyone who says that not putting on the ball in play doesn't matter with 2 strikes. Never know what's going to happen.
Slider in for a strike to Flores, and it's 1-2. So Kane keeps getting ahead of the hitters, trying to put away Flores, who hits the comebacker, and that's the third out. But the Mets able to cash a couple of first inning runs. They load him up, and with 2 out, Neil Walker behind in the count shatters his bat but drives in 2. The Mets have a 2-0 lead. Streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Jacob DeGrom gifted a 2-0 lead. Buster Posey leads off for the Giants in the second. Buster went 1 for 2 last night, then came out of the game early when it became a rout. Buster Posey, lifetime against the Mets, hitting .345. Only 2 other active players with at least 100 at bats who've done better: D. Gordon and Omar Infante. And Posey does this against everybody.
Well, he's got a classic stance.
Flies one out to right, and Granderson moves back. 1 out. Well, Keith is off today. You know, he's a little under the weather too, so we found ourselves another partner to work with. It is the Cinder Garden Gnome, which was the source of much anticipation today. They were lined up outside the ballpark for hours before the game today to get one of these babies.
This one's pretty cool looking, because a lot of them don't look like the player. This looks like Noah, so it's cool.
It was DeGrom who was immortalized in gnomeness last year, and I guess it's only the long-haired guys who get the gnome treatment.
With ball and hammer in hand, ready to go.
Very Thor-esque. Noah will be on the mound tomorrow. Maybe. The forecast is not good, and you know, it's one of those days that you look forward to on the calendar, because Syndergaard is due to hook up with Madison Bumgarner tomorrow. So you just hope the weather forecast gets a little better and we're able to get that game in tomorrow.
You don't see matchups like that often, so. But it's supposed to be, what is supposed to be bad.
3-1 to Brandon Belt. Belt 1 for 3 last night. He's been a hot hitter after signing a big contract extension a couple of weeks ago. And DeGrom walks him. And the Giants have their first base runner of the day. Well, DeGrom working with a new catcher for the first time.
Well, it's difficult when there isn't any history. Less difficult when you have a veteran like Rene Rivera, who's a guy that's been around. He's done this many times. He is a catcher first, offense second kind of guy. So they should be in tune pretty quickly, I would think. Rivera had a good year with the bat 2 years ago in San Diego. Not so much last year in Tampa Bay.
There's Hunter Pence taking ball 1. Well, Rivera is well traveled. He's played for 5 different teams now, and he was actually in the Mets farm system for a year back in 2009. Spent the whole year at Buffalo. But that's before, you know, any of the Mets young pitchers were starting in the organization. There's a fastball for a strike. But his reputation is as a defensive catcher, so you have to figure he'll get on board quickly. Mets didn't sign him until after the season had already begun, so he didn't have any spring training with the ball club.
What you really try to tell the catcher, if you've never pitched to him, are the things that you need. You need the signs quick if you like to work quickly. Maybe your game plan in the first inning is to just use 2 of your 4 pitches, things like that, so it'll make it easier for him to make the transition.
Hunter Pence 0 for 4 last night. Also dropped a fly ball that helped out the Mets' big inning. And he chases one out of the strike zone, 2-2.
Mets used to have a catcher in their system when I pitched. You see this fastball by Pence. And I used to love to use first or second sign with the guy in second. But if I shook off, go to first sign immediately. You could never get that. Ever get it.
You went all intellectual on him.
No, that's not intellectual. That's 3rd grade.
2-2 from DeGrom. And he just missed outside. Full count. So DeGrom just walked Belt, the first batter he's walked this season. Now he's gone 3-2 on Pence behind him. We'll see if Belt gets a start here with 3-2 and 1 out. Shadows starting to encroach on a mostly sunny afternoon. Belt does not go, and Pence takes ball 4, so back-to-back walks for Jacob DeGrom.
You know, we always talk from the pitcher's side here. Gary, from the catcher's side, when you haven't caught a staff of power pitchers, what you don't realize is that there's some apprehension because the movement, especially for DeGrom, is so late. So it's not like you can sit in your rocking chair there and kind of, you know, pick the ball out of the air. You really have to concentrate. And on one of those pitches, Rivera really snatched it back in the strike zone. That's not what he usually does. Usually has very soft hands.
So the tying runs on base for San Francisco. Now Brandon Crawford, who was 2 for 3 last night. Yeah, first pitch curveball for a strike. Crawford's been off to something of a slow start after a career year last year. Hit 21 home runs, drove in 84.
Had a nice night last night, though.
See the shadows of the light stanchions starting to encroach onto the field. And a foul tip at the plate. And it's 0-2.
Boy, that is so irritating for a hitter as you see Tomlinson on deck. You don't offer it the pitch. You take it a tough pitch out of the strike zone, but it just ticks your bat to go to 0-2.
Now last night Bruce Bochy hit his pitcher 8th, but Matt Cain is an awful hitter, so they bat him 9th today. And Kelby Tomlinson is hitting 8th. He's on deck. Crawford manages to foul that back.
Well, since John Lester got his few hits last year, now it's Cain who has the biggest 0 for working.
0 for 39. He's not very confident. Doesn't have his helmet on. I think he'd be rearing and ready to go 2 batters away.
What, to get to 0-40?
Well. And DeGrom bounces the curveball and strikes out Crawford for the 2nd out. 2nd strikeout for Jake.
Well, that's how you use the strike zone against a hitter. You've gotten ahead and you expand it. And he drops that breaking ball right in the dirt, controlled, doing that on purpose to get Crawford to swing over the top of it.
So 2 out and 2 on, and now the number 8 hitter Kelby Tomlinson filling in at 2nd base today, with Joe Panik having tweaked his groin last night. And Tomlinson takes ball 1. Tomlinson had a nice rookie year last year. Had a lot of big hits for the Giants. 54 games, hit .303.
Well, he got to play a lot because of a Panik injury last year.
Panik had the bad back that kept him out the last 2 months. And a high strike for DeGrom, 1-1.
So far we've seen that DeGrom does not have as great command with his fastball. His breaking pitches, he has better command than his fastball.
He breaks Tomlinson's bat, gets off the mound, and gets himself through the inning. 2 walks from DeGrom, but a strikeout and a comebacker get him through the 2nd. Mets with a 2-0 lead. Rene Rivera leads off the home second for New York. First at bat is a Met for Rivera, who was with Tampa Bay last year, hit 178. Year before in San Diego, he had his best offensive year, hit 252 with 11 home runs. And he takes the curveball for a strike from Kane.
First curveball we've seen from Matt. A good one. Paul Nart was just telling Kane, make sure if you go to your mouth, you wipe it off on your pants.
Certainly warmer today than it was last night, but still cool enough. Temperature right around 60 degrees. There's your umpiring crew today. Crew chief Ron Culpo working at first base. 1-2 to Rivera, and he gets hit in the back. Also, his first plate appearance as a Met results in a little pain, but an on-base percentage of 1,000.
Elias is jumping to the computers right now. Looks like a changeup grip that hit Rivera. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Could have been a fastball. 91 miles an hour. Yeah, certainly a fastball.
Well, you know, Kane has history with this team. Here's DeGrom, 0 for 3 with a sacrifice to start the season, and he has to move out of the way. Of course, for Matt Kane, it all goes back to the first year of this ballpark back in 2009 when he hit David Wright square in the batting helmet and really changed the arc of David's career in a certain way. That's not why David's out of the lineup today. He was going to get a day off this weekend, and he wants to face the lefty Bumgarner tomorrow. But it is certainly a moment that resonates for all Mets fans who are around there. Good sacrifice bunt by DeGrom, 3-4 to move Rivera to second. And this is what it looked like.
Well, in his heyday, when Matt Kane would come up and in, balls sometimes take off, and this one did.
And much as today's game, it was a 4 o'clock start, and you saw the shadows between the mound and home plate. And you wonder whether David's reaction time was just a tad slower than it might have otherwise been.
And that's all it takes.
So here's Granderson with Rivera at second and 1 out. Curtis had a base hit up the middle and scored a run his first time up. Curtis has now scored 15 runs in the last 13 games. Flies this one out to right, and Pence barely has to move. That's the second out, and holding at second is Rivera. So 2 away, and here is Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera has thrived in the 2-hole. This is the 5th game he's batted second, mostly, well, exclusively on David Wright's days off, and he's 7 for 17 batting second in the order. Mostly it's been hitting 7th in the Mets batting order. Matt Kane now in the second to last year of an 8-year, $139 million contract, which he earned with those all-star seasons. But of course, that's the downside of long-term deals, particularly with pitchers. You just don't know how their stuff is going to sustain itself over the course of a career.
Well, it's almost like they had to make a choice. Was it Kane or Lincecum they were going to give the long-term contract to? Nickname of Kane is the horse with his teammates, so they thought they would give it to the horse, but he broke down.
Well, the thing about Kane is he's got 97 wins and 101 losses in his career, and it's not at all indicative of the kind of pitcher he's been.
295 starts. I think they've averaged less than 4 runs per game in his start. So one of those hard luck pitchers his entire career.
And Cabrera is the second batter hit in the inning. So now the crowd really getting revved up as Kane has plunked a pair of Mets. First Rivera and now Cabrera.
Well, that was a little cutter by Kane as he tried to come inside, and it got Cabrera right on the thigh. Trying to cut that ball in, and it kept chasing him. And right off the outside of the thigh.
Ray Ramirez, the head athletic trainer, came out for a moment, but as Dribble says, he's okay.
Wonder if this is any answer from yesterday. 12-run inning, a team that's hot, scoring a lot of runs, trying to chase people off the plate.
Well, it gives Conforto a chance with 2 men on. Michael had a base hit and scored a run in the first inning. Rivera at second, Cabrera at first with 2 out. Well, Conforto has been the consummate number 3 hitter since Terry Collins moved him up to that spot. And the Mets have been red hot since he became the 3-hole hitter.
You know, in no way do I mean that Kane is trying to hit people on purpose. That is definitely not true. He is trying to make sure that they're uncomfortable, though, after last night's debacle for the Giants.
Well, the Mets were able to dig in and hit rope after rope against Peavy and Broadway last night. Peavy did not lose his job following his performance last night. Broadway did. He got sent down today. The Giants called up Ben Mazzaro, the Hackensack native, to take his spot in the bullpen. 2-1 to Conforto with Cespedes on deck. And Michael takes inside, and that almost hit him. So Matt Cain, if he's trying to establish inside, has made his point.
The only way it truly works, though, is you have to have the ability to throw inside for strikes. Kane has not proven that yet.
Now he's behind a good hitter, 3-1. 2 on and 2 out. And Conforto bounces one foul.
That might be the first time I've seen Conforto really overswing after that ball in. He wanted to hit that even harder than he's been hitting the ball.
So now the runners will get an automatic start. Rivera at second, Cabrera at first will be running. Kane trying to slog his way through the second inning that has seen him hit 2 batters. 3-2 coming. In the air, left field, pretty well hit. Back goes Pagan to the track. Back near the wall, it's off the fence. Rivera is in. Cabrera on his way behind him. He scores. It's a 2-run double for Michael Conforto. And it's 4-0 New York. Want to pitch me inside? I'll hit it off the fence. Conforto ties a club record, his 6th straight game with a double. And this one brings in 2.
Again, like we saw earlier in this homestand, Conforto has the ability to go out of the strike zone and go out of the strike zone with power. That missed being a home run by what? 2-3 inches? And Cabrera, once he notices it eludes Pagan, he gets on his horse and scores.
Well, for the 2nd straight day, the Mets having a field day against a former All-Star who has seen his better days behind him. Last night, Jake Peavy. Today, Matt Cain. Conforto 2 for 2, a double, 2 RBIs in the first 2 innings. And now Yoenis Cespedes, who struck out his first time up. Slider off the plate, ball 1.
Head right on it, ball running off of the strike zone and able to just punch that ball over the head of Pagan and almost out of the ballpark.
Off the orange strip at the top of that 8-foot fence.
Doubles machine.
It's his 11th double of the year. Cespedes fouls one down the right side and belt over for a look, but that's out of play.
Caught the orange, Gary. Watch this ball. Right in the middle of that orange. So 3 inches. Hits on top and goes over. He'll take the 2-run double.
So he ties Joe Christopher's club record, doubling in 6 straight games.
Extra base hitting machines, Conforto and Cespedes.
It's vitamin C, I'm telling you. Conforto, the last 14 games, has driven in 14 runs, 12 extra base hits. He's just a baby. He's just getting started.
Or he's in mid-form.
Cespedes pops one up. Posey taking the great circle route, finds it, and makes the catch to end the inning. But after a couple of hit batsmen, Michael Conforto gets revenge. And the Mets lead 4-0 after 2. Now with a 4-0 lead, and Matt Cain being greeted rudely as he comes to the plate after plunking a pair of Mets in the last inning. Cain 0 for his last 39. He had some power earlier in his career, 6 home runs. But it's been a while since he's had a hit. In fact, his last hit came May of 2014, so it's been nearly 2 years since Matt Cain had a hit. His last hit, a bunt single against Zach Greinke.
Against Zach Greinke?
Well, it was a sacrifice situation, and he beat it out for a hit. But he strikes out here, and he's now 0 for his last 40. Third strikeout for DeGrom, first time through the batting order. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs.
Gary, as good as Michael Conforto was last year, he's really taken it up a notch this season. I was speaking a little bit with Kevin Long before the game today about what's been the biggest improvement. And Kevin Long said he basically just shored up the only hole that he had in his swing, and that was what was making him susceptible to the inside pitch a season ago. Last year, he was really striding more towards the third baseline when he was up at the plate, which kind of closed off his inside and didn't allow him to get his hands in. This year, if you watch, he's striding much more towards the pitcher's mound, and that allows him to basically cover both sides of the plate. As Kevin Long put it, the guy really does not have anywhere you can pitch him.
Just ask every pitcher he's faced this year. I mean, the holes are, if there are any holes, they're not finding them.
Yeah. I mean, he has a great knowledge of the strike zone. That's something that usually comes with time, not at this tender of an age. So that's what gives him a definite advantage. Second, he was relentless this winter, working on making sure he could cover that inside pitch. And I think you know, Kevin Long said it best. He said, you know why I'm hitting, Coach? Because every once in a while a kid like this comes along, and it's a pleasure to work with a guy that's this far advanced.
Span slaps one to short. Cabrera on the backhand. 2 out. Well, you know, Keith sat down with Michael Conforto a couple of days ago. They did a very long interview, and we're going to start showing parts of that over the next couple of days. It was fascinating just listening to Keith talk about the interview because he was so excited talking to Conforto about hitting.
It was like talking to one of his contemporaries, right? He's got the old school way of looking at hitting.
I think that's one of the things that Keith came away with, is that unlike a lot of hitters that he's interacted with recently, he found a guy that's a lot more like himself. Angel Pagan takes a strike. DeGrom struck out Pagan his first time up. Toward the middle, and Cabrera snags it. Off balance throw, and Duda comes off the bag. What a stop by Cabrera, and he almost turned it into an out. That's a big time wow.
Talk about some hands. Cabrera has him in spades. Just lays the glove out there. Snares that one. He knew he had to get rid of it quick because of the speed of Pagan. And if it was lower, it would have been one of the highlight plays you'll see.
Instead, it's the first hit of the afternoon against DeGrom.
I mean, almost throwing that blind. But because he's been at that position his entire life, he knows where that first base bag is.
Matt Duffy fouls it off. It was funny. Terry Collins today was asked about Cabrera, and Terry said, you know, I love scouts. I have the utmost respect for scouts. But I had a lot of scouts tell me that Asdrubal Cabrera couldn't play shortstop anymore, and the scouts were wrong.
You know, I think last year they got to watch him in Tampa Bay play half his games on the carpet. That's not easy on an older player's knees, or a guy with his much experience. He's not older, but his much experience playing on the carpet.
Well, he came up relatively young with the Indians and had some bang-up offensive years that I think have overshadowed what he's able to do defensively. And you know, nobody's saying he's the second coming of Ozzie Smith, but he has great hands, a really good arm. Duffy hits one down the right field line, slicing away. It goes foul.
You watch him at shortstop now. Focus on him. See the jump? And he catches that behind him because he knew he could not get it in front of him. And boy, it was nice to see that throw on time, or on the line, because what a play.
By the way, Angel Pagan still gets out of the box really well.
Great athlete. One of the best athletes ever to wear a Mets uniform.
And Angel's 34 now, and he runs like he's still a Colt. 0-2 to Duffy, who flied out to right his first time up. And DeGrom misses with a slider. 1-2.
Good pitch there.
With a few sliders he's thrown early in this game.
Just a tiny little one. Looked like it caught the outside corner, but home plate umpire Paul Nard had it just outside, and he was right.
DeGrom has struck out 3. I like Duda with the pants up. It's a good look for Lucas.
You do?
Yeah.
Day game.
Looks like an old-time slugger. Could be Jimmy Fox.
There you go.
1-2. Duffy lines the foul.
Eddie Matthews.
Good to see 95 from Jacob. He's not hitting that consistently today, but that's been a little elusive for him early in the season.
Well, spring training, you know, coming off all those innings he threw last year, he never could really get it going as far as the speed gun was concerned. It's still getting out. He got a little testy a couple times when the writers were all over him after he'd go 5 shutout innings. He was like, what do you want from me? I just got 5 shutout innings. Isn't that the game?
Well, last year he averaged 95 with his fastball. This year it's been more like 92, but It's also a fact that most pitchers see their numbers go up a tick or two once the weather gets warm.
And once we're talking about, this is his third start because of the interruption with his child. So he hasn't gotten into that rhythm that is so important for Jacob and other pitchers.
Slow ground ball. Flores waits on it. And the throw off the bag, and Duna can't hold it on the tag. Going to third is Pagan, and Duffy's safe at first. It'll be an error charge to Flores for the wide throw.
Well, the dropping down from the side will push that ball into the runner. And tough play for Lucas. You can't blame him. He's going into the runner. Those are plays where you see first basemen break their arms or thumbs.
Well, the most important piece about that play is that it prolongs the inning and gives Buster Posey a chance with 2 men on. Now, Buster's been struggling with runners in scoring position, but that's not going to last forever. Buster's hitting 130 with runners in scoring position this year, 3 for 23. Buster Posey came out of Florida State, the number 5 overall pick in 2008. Rookie of the Year, MVP,
batting champion, on and on.
Yeah, you come up to the big leagues, you win the Rookie of the Year and win a World Series your first year. Your third year, you win the MVP and win the World Series. 2 years later, you win another World Series. You get a rule change named after you.
That's right.
he's had a very full career, and he's still not even 30. DeGrom behind him, 2-0. There's a strike on the outside with a slider. Nice pitch by Jake.
You see Posey muttered probably something a little stronger, but darn, because he's sitting on a pitch. He's 2-0. He's got it in his corner, and DeGrom throws a perfect slider on the outside corner.
Now it's 3-1. With Brandon Belt standing on deck. DeGrom working with a 4-0 lead. But he's in a dangerous spot here facing Posey. 3-1 coming, and he walked him to fill the bases. Third walk given up by DeGrom, and now he'll face the left-hand hitter Belt with the bases full. And Dan Warthen's going to pay a visit to the mound. Try and use his 30 seconds wisely.
Well, errors have always been a part of the game, something you don't like to see happen. But with these pitch counts that you have for starting pitchers now, Wilmer makes that play, and you're hitting again. Instead, more pitches for DeGrom to throw.
You could win a $25 gas card. Just follow SNY on Twitter during the 5th inning of today's game for details on how to enter the SNY 5th inning sweepstakes presented by Tri-State Ford. Well, DeGrom was hoping for a quick inning, retired the first 2, but an infield hit, an error, and a walk have filled the bases. Pagan at third, Duffy at second, Posey at first with 2 down. And Brandon Belt, who walked his first time up, stepping in. And a curveball misses down for ball 1.
Well, what's interesting is that DeGrom does not have great command of his fastball on first pitch to get ahead. So he's been using a lot of breaking pitches. The Giants have made an adjustment, starting to lay off those first pitches out of the strike zone.
Belt smacks one foul. Well, DeGrom is working on a streak of 50 straight starts where he's throwing more first pitch strikes than first pitch balls. 50 straight. Wow. But today so far, 6 first pitch strikes, 8 first pitch balls. So it gives you an idea how out of sync he is right now.
This is where you're hoping you throw one on the outside corner and the batter flies out to center field.
There's a good sinking fastball, and he gets ahead on Belt 1-2.
That one had a lot of life right by Belt. down, away. And the uppercut of Belt doesn't get there.
DeGrom trying to fight his way through a rough inning. 1-2 to Brandon Belt. Too high. 2-2. Hunter Pence would be next. Belt had a 5 RBI afternoon Wednesday against the Padres before the Giants came here. Two. Full count. So nothing's coming easily right now for DeGrom, who should have been out of the inning. But there's frustration on the field and in the stands.
Well, sometimes the most important out you're going to get as a starting pitcher comes at 5:02 in the 3rd inning.
Now the merry-go-round will be in motion. 3-2 to Belt. And he walked him to force in a run. Back-to-back walks to Posey and Belt. And the Giants are on the board. It's now 4-1 New York. That's 4 walks in 2 2/3 innings for the normally control-bound Jacob DeGrom.
The era comes back to haunt the Mets. But 2 walks, not the norm for Mr. DeGrom.
That is only the 3rd unearned run the Mets have given up this season. That's how good their defense and their pitching have been. Now Hunter Pence with the tying runs on base. And Pence with his grand slam swing comes up empty.
He let the dog out here, didn't he?
He left nothing on the table.
Well, he had a home run in the batter's eye in San Francisco earlier in April. 460-foot shot.
He was trying to dent the apple with that swing. Yeah, Pence rarely gets cheated at the plate. Watched this for a long time now. He is 2 home runs shy of 200 for his major league career. Duffy now at 3rd, Posey at 2nd, and Belt at 1st with 2 out. A run home for the Giants in the 3rd. Little looper, shallow right. Granderson will have to play it on a hop. Duffy is in. Here comes Posey. The throw cut off. Duda's throw to 3rd is in time for the 3rd out. Belt is out to end the inning. 2-run score, and we'll wait to see if the Giants challenge the play at 3rd. Pence drives in a pair to make it a 4-3 game. And Bruce Bochy says, hang on just a moment. We might want to challenge this call.
Yeah, his bench coach, Ron Wotus, is going to check. Granderson hits the cutoff man. Duda does the correct thing and gets it and makes the throw to 3rd base. And let's see if Belt got underneath. Hard to tell. Ball beat him. Before replay, this was an automatic out, but you don't know now with the 4 or 5 looks.
They are not going to challenge. Too close to use the challenge. So it is the 3rd out. Play goes 9-3-5, but the Giants score 3 unearned runs in the 3rd. It's now a 1-run Met lead. of the third inning last night. It began innocuously enough. A couple of walks. Michael Conforto doubled in the run. Oh, then things got really complicated.
Catch up, Gary.
2 pitchers, 66 pitches, 12 runs, 8 hits, capped by the Cespedes grand slam, and the Mets had the biggest inning in the history of the franchise. This time it's Lucas Duda to lead off the home third against Matt Cain, who misses with a first pitch curveball. So Duda, who walked his first 2 times up last night, walked his first time up today. He has more walks in this series than he had when the series began. He nubs that one foul. 1-1. In Minnesota this afternoon, Jordan Zimmerman, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, gets the win for the Tigers. He's now 5-0, 0.55 in his American League. First month in the American League.
He's 5-0, you said? So
5-0.
he's given up 2 runs in 5 starts. Boy, it's tough going from the National League to American League.
That's what they always say, right? I'll tell you what, though, you look at the numbers this year, and the National League has been the far more offensive league, even without a DH.
Well, the elite clubs in the National League are really good.
Duda has to move his feet as Cain continues to work inside. Hit 2 batters in the last inning.
That ball just missed the left kneecap of Lucas Duda.
3-1 from Cain, and Duda nubs that one, and that'll be a base hit if it stays on the grass, and it does. So Duda gets a swinging bunt for a base hit, and the Mets have the leadoff man on for the 3rd straight inning. Why not?
That ball rolling out the 3rd was moving just about as fast as Lucas was down the first base line. And there's nothing you can do here. You don't even pick it up if you're Cain.
Lucas looks faster though now with the pants hiked up.
He
does. He looks like a runner. Look at him go. Now Neil Walker, who broke his bat, dumped a single into right and drove in 2 runs in the first inning. So Walker had his soft hit to drive in 2 runs, negated by Pence's soft hit to drive in 2 runs. But you know, that's the thing about this Giants offense. They're a lot like the Royals. They don't strike out much.
Put the ball in play. Good 2-strike hitters. Relentless. And the problem that they have is that Peavy and now Cain in this 3rd inning has not proven they can get anyone out yet.
Well, we mentioned last night they have Chris Heston, who threw a no-hitter against the Mets last year. He started last night at AAA for the Giants. It'll be interesting to see whether they make a move there. Curveball misses to Walker, 2-1. By the way, we just mentioned Jordan Zimmerman for the Tigers. Should mention, because we brought it up last night, Michael Fulmer's debut with the Tigers last night, successful. Went 5 innings, got the win.
A real shot in the arm for them, because they've gotten top of their rotation has been pretty good. Verlander and of course Zimmerman, but you know, Pelfrey has not been great, and you know, it's nice to see him get a win in his first big league start. Good for him.
Of course, Fulmer's the kid the Mets traded to the Tigers to get Yoenis Cespedes last year. And the Tigers backed it up with another win today, their 4th in a row. Mets will go to Detroit later this year. Walker hits a slow ground ball. Belt with a nice snag, gets the out at second. Cain covering in time for the 3-6-1 double play. Beautifully turned by the Giants. 2 out.
Well, Belt is one of the better fielding first basemen, and he got this ball being left-handed, makes the accurate throw. Luckily on this play, Neil Walker could have stepped on the Achilles of Matt Cain. Went a long distance, accurate throw, and now Crawford just tries to time it and throw it on the bag. And see where his foot was? Just bent all over that bag. And luckily Walker somehow avoided stepping on his Achilles. Just looked like they got the outside of his spike.
Well, he got the toe plate, which is the most protected part of the pitcher's foot.
Always think about Eric Young Jr. and Tim Hudson, of course, at this ballpark.
Flying leap to first base that Young made, and ended Hudson's year a couple of seasons ago. Now Wilmer Flores, who's had a rough afternoon already, a comebacker with 2 men on to end the first, and a throwing error that led to 3 runs, and he gets quick on that one and pulls it foul. 1-1. Something has got to give with Wilmer Flores. I know how hard it is for him to go from being a regular to being a bench player, but right now he just can't get out of his own way.
And I think there's no answers you can get from a coach or a fellow player. It's got to come from within, and that's when you get your chance, make the most of it, but not where you're chasing things, trying to do more than you're capable of doing. Think of it in small terms. Base hit, simple base hit. I feel like when Wilmer's getting up there, he wants to hit a 3-run home run every time to show he belongs in the lineup more.
Right at the second baseman, Tomlinson. That retires the side. So Kane able to get through a scoreless third and keep it a 1-run game, 4-3 New York. Audi A4 and your tri-state Audi dealers.
Well, one of the great things about Dave Righetti, he's been here for 16 years, is that he's just such a great communicator. You know, if you're a starting pitcher or a reliever, you're talking about a guy who can talk to you about starting pitching, where he won 82 games, relieving, where he saved 252 games, threw a no-hitter on July 4th in '83. He's done everything you could do in the game. One of the great guys ever be around.
And he's a pitching coach who has bridged managers with the same organization, which is not always the case.
Dan Worthen.
Yeah, that's true. Brandon Crawford leading off in the fourth, and Jacob DeGrom has already walked 4 batters. Quickly falls behind him 2-0. So it's not been a crisp afternoon for Jake. 2-0 changeup, and he gets a strike. Jacob has never walked more than 5 in a game. He did that 2 years ago against the Pirates. And he's already walked 4 in the first 3 innings today. Crawford struck out his first time up. Tries to lay off and did so, and it's 3-1.
But you notice, right, a lot in the Atlanta game too. Lots of changeups to the left-handed hitters. It's almost like he just doesn't trust his fastball.
Is that a 91-mile-an-hour fastball?
91 mile an hour. Well, you know, 3-1 count, Gary. You're ahead by a run. You know, you're just kind of pouring it in there, but.
The 8-hitter Tomlinson on deck, and the pitcher Kane behind him. Crawford pops one up. Room for Flores. 1 out.
You know, when you're looking at the changeup from both pitchers, Kane is on the left. It's buried deeper in his hand. That means it's going to come out a little slower, less movement. The power changeup of DeGrom is when you see more daylight between the ball and his hand. More daylight means it's on the end of his fingers. It's going to have more movement and more downward movement. That's why you have the power changeup of DeGrom versus just the straight change of Kane, where he wants a differential between his fastball and his changeup.
Kelby Tomlinson broke his bat, hit a comebacker his first time up. What do we mean when we say power changeup?
Well, a lot of pitchers, you know, use the changeup, Gary, to get outs. That's what Kane is trying to do. He wants you to put it in play, hit it into the shift, ground ball 4-3. With DeGrom, who's a power pitcher and a strikeout pitcher, he wants to avoid the bat with the changeup. Much like Santana when he was here.
Good slider that time by DeGrom to get Tomlinson for his 4th strikeout.
Well, this slider, though, stayed in the middle of the plate. Just Tomlinson swung through it. Not seen a lot of good sliders from Jacob. Changeup's probably been his best pitch of the 3.
So now Kane, who struck out his first time up.
And it might be because it's April and cold, although it's beautiful today. Might be because they haven't got as much work. They're not on that every 5 days pitching. But neither Harvey or DeGrom has had their real good slider yet.
Well, here's the good news for Jacob. His next start will be in San Diego. The bad news? San Diego weather may not be great either.
Oh, what?
Yeah. They're calling for some rain while the Mets are in San Diego.
Listen, that's the only reason I'm going on this trip is because of the nice weather.
Should be nice in L.A.
Okay. That's always nice in L.A.
1-2 to Kane. Struck him out. Inning over. 5 strikeouts for DeGrom. Gets the bottom of the order. 1-2-3. Middle of the 4th at Citi Field. 4-3 New York. Is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Tonight, as the draft winds down, get a complete breakdown and analysis of all the Jets picks on Jets Nation. Draft Day special coverage continues tonight after the postgame, only on SNY. Rene Rivera lines one right to Brandon Belt, 1 pitch and 1 out in the home fourth. Are you telling me the draft is still going on?
It goes on for days. It goes on for days, Gary.
And people watch this.
You're getting some of your best players for your team right now.
But people sit there and watch the draft for 3 days.
They froth at the mouth while this is going on.
Just
for the entire
am I missing?
5 rounds.
Am I missing an entirely relevant cultural thing here? Because I just don't get it.
I would say you're not missing anything at all, to tell you the truth. Meet me in August when they go to camp.
Meet me in September when the games start for real. How about that?
There you go. Nice lid.
DeGrom sacrificed his first time up. Kane throws him a good changeup, and it's 1-2. Well, Kane has really leaned on his changeup today. DeGrom bangs one off his leg, a foul ball. The Nats won this afternoon. They beat the Cardinals 6-1. Joe Ross 6 innings for the win. Jason Worth a 3-run homer. Nats are now 16-7. Not the best record in the National League. That belongs to the Cubs, who got rained out today against the Braves. Cubs are 17-5.
Well, you know, most of us thought this before the season started. This is going to be quite a race between the Mets and the Nationals. The race to 100.
Well, how about this? I mean, think about it in these terms, because we've talked about how bifurcated the National League is. As DeGrom takes strike 3 called. Second strikeout for Kane today. Drive Around the Majors brought to you by Chevrolet. We mentioned the Nats win and the Tigers win. Zach Greinke takes an ugly looking line into his game against the Rockies tonight. So somebody's going to win the West, right? Right now, nobody's over 500 in the National League West. And now you've got the Mets and Nats in the East. I would have put the Marlins in that category, but without D. Gordon, maybe not. And then the Cubs, the Pirates, and the Cardinals in the Central. And I know the Cardinals are only 500 right now, but you have to figure they'll be around. So you've got those 5 teams basically for 4 spots in the postseason. The 2 division winners and the 2 wild cards.
That's right.
So somebody from that group of 5, Mets, Nats, Cubs, Pirates, Cardinals, will be left out.
Of really good ball clubs. Absolutely.
I mean, one of those teams could win 90 games and not make the postseason.
No, I think you have to think, if you're a team, you're 95 plus. It's the only way you're going to get in. I don't think 90 and 72, what the Mets had last year, is going to make it. It's not going to work.
So different this year. I mean, look, the Phillies are playing great right now, and you know, maybe they sustain that with some of the good pitching they have, but it's hard to believe that that's going to happen with the roster, the lineup they're running out on the field every day. Giants get the bullpen going. Josh Osich, one of the 3 left-handers in their pen. Anderson pokes one foul. But you've got the Braves, you've got the Brewers, you've got the Reds, the Padres. I think I'd throw the Rockies into that mix. Teams that are just not built to win in 2016, that are looking toward future years.
You know, when you talk about the Phillies, and I'm happy they've gotten off to a quick start. Nice to see a lot of their young pitchers coming through. They're going to be on pitch limits, innings limits. So their control of their destiny in September is not going to be as much.
Anderson pops one up. Who's going to get it? Pence calling, and he's got it to end the inning. So Matt Cain strengthening as this game goes on. Pitches his first 1-2-3 inning after 4-3 New York. new Ford, you'll discover why Ford is the total package. Fifth inning, it's been a bumpy road for Jacob DeGrom. 4 walks in the first 3 innings, 3 unearned runs against him. He'll start his 3rd time through the batting order. Denard Span will lead off in the 5th. Span is flied out and grounded out 0 for 2. 75 pitches for DeGrom over the first 4 innings. And he gets a first pitch ground ball from Span. That'll help his pitch count. 1 away.
Yeah, this will be the true test for Jacob. We talked about it before the game. When he doesn't have his best stuff, he's well equipped to get through the game. Well, this is going to be the big test, 3rd time through the lineup.
He was limited to 85 pitches in his first start back from paternity leave, and he threw 82 as it turned out in Atlanta on Sunday. So you figure he's not going to be allowed to go much past 95 this afternoon.
I'm with you, and many of these pitches have been under duress.
There's Angel Pagan, an infield hit his last time up. Fouled away. Let's go back to Pagan's first at bat in the 1st inning.
No, this is the most impressive sequence for DeGrom in this game. Fastball up for a ball, comes back with a changeup, doubled up on it. Instead of throwing 3 in a row, came back with the high fastball. Beautiful sequence of pitches. Get that hitter rocking back and forth. Never comfortable with the speed.
5 strikeouts for DeGrom today. And the curveball bounces in there 2-2. So talking about pitch counts with DeGrom leads us to what happened last night in Milwaukee when Adam Conley of the Marlins was pulled with a no-hitter intact after 7 2/3.
Well, you know, most of the talk today has been in favor.
DeGrom gets over to cover. 3-1 put out for the 2nd out.
You know, how can you push these guys past? They've never been past this area. I guess I understand it. I think Mattingly made the right move in the way the game is today. But what you're doing, taking away from the fans, is an opportunity to see greatness, because you've got these guys so pigeonholed into only throwing 100 pitches. Do you know how hard it is to throw a no-hitter or a perfect game with 100 pitches or less? I mean, it's almost impossible. So the protocol has to be, I would look at it this way. If he's at 116 at 7 2/3, if he can make it happen, then what I do is I don't pitch him for a week. You know, I get it on the other side of it. But the hard part to do is that you're only priming these guys to throw 100 pitches. Well, now you're asking them to throw 25 or more.
Well, that's the problem, right? It's not that he was not left in to throw more on this occasion. It's that he's never thrown more on any occasion. So how can you expect him to do it now?
But 2 young pitchers with a chance of no hitters washed off the board. Stripling and Conley.
Yep. 1-2-3 inning for DeGrom as he gets 3 ground balls. Still 4-3. Lower Manhattan just sparkling on a Saturday afternoon. And moving very quickly. Your Ford fifth inning recap. Another big game for Michael Conforto. Jacob DeGrom has worked around his walks to throw 5 innings without allowing an earned run. As Dribble Cabrera, leading off the home fifth, has flied out and been hit by a pitch. And he takes a curveball from Kane for a strike, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, as Dribble Cabrera, just like Neil Walker, the 2 new additions, they are switch hitters, and I was curious whether or not they use different bats from each side of the plate. Both of them currently use the same bat, actually, from both sides of the plate. That's always been the case for Cabrera, but interestingly, with Neil Walker in the minors, he actually used a bat from the right side that was about a ½ an inch longer because he stood further back from the plate from the right side. However, as a minor leaguer, it became pretty expensive to get 2 different types of bats, so he actually taught himself to move up a little bit on the plate just so he could use 1 type of bat and not have to buy 2.
Got to economize when you're playing for a minor leaguer salary.
Exactly. That was an interesting reaction by Cabrera. It was a changeup, and he flew out, obviously. But he was really upset. So to me, it lets me know he was sitting on changeup, got it, and just didn't deliver.
Well, here's Conforto, who has pulled a single and gone the other way for a 2-run double that almost left the ballpark. 2 for 2. He hits this one deep to right field. Back goes Pence, back near the wall, and it's out of here! Home run number 4 from Michael Conforto. A towering shot to give the Mets a 5-3 lead.
Not only does he have the balance, knowledge of the strike zone, talent, but he also has the intelligence. He has seen that Matt Cain has thrown a lot of first pitch strikes, and he was ready to hit on first pitch. You know, Terry Collins was asked today about Conforto for the long haul, and he said, you know, what am I supposed to say? I don't know what he's going to do in the long haul, but he said he's a young man that if he has a bat at bat, he comes back to the bench. He places his bat in the bat rack, talks to Kevin Long and says, boy, you know, that slider's a little better than I thought it was. He tries to learn from his bat at bats or when the pitcher gets him out. That's the process of learning when things aren't going well, so that when you get on a roll, you keep it on a roll. He's on a roll right now.
Cespedes pops it up. Dalt coming in. And that's the second out. That Mets home run means $2,000 for No Kid Hungry, enough to provide 20,000 healthy meals courtesy of Citi. Well, Conforto with a single, double, and home run today is now hitting .370 for the year. He has 27 hits this year, 15 of the 27 for extra bases. I mean, he is very quickly some 250 at bats into his major league career, establishing himself as one of the elite hitters in the National League.
I mean, you could see it from day one, just like you could see Buster Posey when he came up for the Giants from day one. There's just certain guys that are a notch above. It's just how it goes. Well, that's middle, and that's why he pulled that ball. And the double that he hit the left field almost out of the ballpark is off the outside corner. Hit him where they pitch it. And if you're going to hit for power in this league, you got to hit the ball in front of the plate. That's the whole science of hitting from Ted Williams, if you read that as a kid.
Two and one to Duda. And there's a strike. Duda's thrown a walk and then nubbed one up the third baseline for an infield hit. It's got a 2-run single from Walker in the first, a 2-run double from Conforto in the second, and now a home run from Conforto in the fifth.
And I don't think, you know, we can't fail not to mention Cespedes batting behind him.
Right.
You know, it changes the whole scenario because no one wants to put a runner on, so they go after Conforto. Now that might change over time, but you have to pitch to him because Cespedes is behind him.
Well, given what Cespedes has done this week, why would it change?
Exactly.
And guys, to that point, when we were talking with Kevin Long about Michael Conforto before today's game, he mentioned that you're noticing he's not walking as much as he did down further in the lineup just because they have to make a choice here. And at this point, you'd still rather choose pitching to Yoenis Cespedes.
Duda not happy with that call, thought the pitch was down, but he strikes out to end the inning. Conforto's home run makes it 5-3 Mets after 5. Tomorrow afternoon, Noah Syndergaard against Madison Bumgarner. Our coverage begins at 12:30 tomorrow, right here on SNY. And there is your pitching matchup tomorrow, one to be savored. And we hope the raindrops will cease in time. Buster Posey leading off in the 6th inning. Mets now with a 2-run lead. Jacob DeGrom has made quick work of the Giants the last 2 innings, able to keep his pitch count down and keep himself around for another inning. Posey has flied out and walked today. DeGrom had an 8-pitch inning in the 5th. Brandon Belt on deck, and then Hunter Pence for the Giants in the 6th. DeGrom has still thrown more first pitch balls than first pitch strikes today. And if he finishes that way, it would be the first time in 51 starts that he would not have more first pitch strikes than first pitch balls. Walker gets in front of it. And Posey retired. That's 7 in a row retired by DeGrom. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Joe Ross getting the win for the Nats in that game. You see who's pitching for Oakland this afternoon? It's Matt Harvey's old high school teammate.
That's right.
Jesse Hahn. And he's got a shutout going through 6 innings.
We saw him pitch a fine game here for the Padres, right? His original team.
Just called up by the A's. They've made some changes in their rotation. He had Sean Manaea make his first start last night.
So a kid from Indiana, I believe.
Oakland wound up winning that game last night. A walk-off on a Yonder Alonso home run. I didn't even realize Yonder Alonso was with Oakland.
Well, Sean Manaea, we were talking the other day about Washington State and Jack Thompson, the throwing Samoan. Well, Sean Manaea is now the new throwing Samoan.
I think of Washington State. I think of John Olrud.
There you go.
Belt pops one foul. Well, here's DeGrom about to throw his 90th pitch and nobody throwing in the bullpen, so it looks like he'll get every chance to get through this 6th inning. Remember, he threw only 82 his last outing after missing a couple of weeks.
The Mets are on a stretch of 17 in 17 days, 17 games in 17 days, so every pitcher is going to make his start on time.
Belt cracks one deep down the right field line, heading toward the Coca-Cola corner, but it goes foul. Well up in that second deck. And a nice grab.
Very nicely done with the triple C's, Gary.
I mean, who sits in that seat and expects to get a souvenir? But that guy was ready. I mean, he figured the Cinder Garden gnome was all he'd come away with today. Not a baseball, not up there. Belt has walked twice today. DeGrom's only given up 2 hits, an infield single to Pagan, and then that soft opposite field hit to Pence that drove in the 2 runs in the 3rd. All 3 runs against Jacob unearned after a Wilmer Flores error in the 3rd. And that error cost him 13 more pitches in that 3rd inning, which right now might be the difference between Jacob pitching a 7th inning.
Yeah.
Mets will get the bullpen active now. Long at bat here for Belt, and he works the count full.
Belt early in his career, he's done a lot of hard work. He was a guy that was more of a free swinger. He's become very good at knowledge of the strike zone.
Started the day with a .406 on base percentage. And he's already walked twice today. He pops this one up. Cabrera back. Conforto in, and Conforto makes the one-hand grab, 2 out. That's 8 in a row set down by DeGrom. And the last man to reach, Hunter Pence, will come up. Pence had that 2-run single in the 3rd inning. Belt was thrown out at 3rd on the plate to end the 3rd, and DeGrom has not allowed a base runner since. Alonso Robles, Jerry Blevins, both up in the Mets bullpen.
Interesting choice of pitches here for DeGrom. Remember the last time Pence was up, first pitch? He was letting it go.
And he takes a fastball down the middle. That's a little surprising with 2 out, nobody on. Figure maybe Pence is up there trying to hit one out of the park. Well, this figures to be the finish for DeGrom, who has struck out 5 today and walked 4. Allowed 3 unearned runs on 2 hits. And he pops the outside corner, 1-2. One-two coming to Pence. Bouncing ball. Flores gives some ground. The throw this time is on target. Side retired. 9 in a row retired by DeGrom. Probably finishing his afternoon. Finished better than it started. 5-3 Mets in the 6th. 2-run lead, looking for their 8th consecutive win. Jacob DeGrom's work for the afternoon done after 99 pitches through 6 innings. No earned runs allowed.
It's a real step up in pitches there for Jacob. He needs to work.
Neil Walker will lead off in the home 6th inning. Walker drove in the first 2 runs with a broken bat single back in the first. Matt Cain still out there toiling, 91 pitches deep. After Jake Peavy went only 2 innings plus last night, Bruce Bochy certainly would like to get a 6th inning out of Cain if he can, facing 6, 7, and 8 in the order. Today's starters brought to you by People's United Bank.
No earned runs for Jacob because of the error by Wilmer Flores.
The 4 walks will be of concern to him. Those all came in the first 3 innings. And if it is the end of the day, then his streak of 50 straight starts throwing more first pitch strikes than first pitch balls is over.
Yeah.
11 first pitch strikes, 13 first pitch balls. So it wasn't easy.
And the Giants hurlers now, starting pitchers, have given up 11 runs in their 2 starts.
Now, 2 veteran pitchers who have been at the top of the profession, Peavy and Cain, are now the weak back end of the Giants rotation. With Madison Bumgarner, Johnny Cueto, Jeff Samardzija, now the 3 trusted members of that rotation. Cueto has been the best of the bunch so far. Walker fouls off the fastball.
You see Johnny with that good ERA. His last start shut out for his 100th win. Samardzija's got a good record, but he's been knocked around a little bit. Bumgarner had 1 bad start, and Cain and Peavy still trying to find their way.
We'll see Bumgarner tomorrow. 1-2 from Cain, and he misses high. Wilmer Flores on deck, then Rene Rivera for the Mets. Mets with 6 hits against Cain, who's walked only 1 but hit 2 batters, and those both came around to score. Derek Law, the right-hander. Javier Lopez, the left-hander, in the bullpen as Walker takes strike 3 call. That's 4 strikeouts now for Cain.
You know, Gary, what Matt Cain is, this little cutter on the outside corner. Nice pitch by Cain. What Cain represents to all organizations is really how small that window of excellence is for great starting pitching, and he was a great starting pitcher. He could still find that magic again. It'll just be in a different way.
I mean, when Bartolo Colon's career began, he was Matt Cain. But he's retooled himself to something completely different and gone on a decade farther.
Flores cracks one to deep left field. Pagan goes back, takes a look, and it's out of here! Wilmer Flores off the schneid, his first home run of the year. Six to 3 New York.
No one in baseball needed that hit more than Wilmer Flores. You know, you can put in all the hard work you want. This is a little hanging slider from Cain, and try to have a positive attitude and do all the right things. But unless you have some show of success at some point, it's awfully hard. These athletes get frustrated when they don't play at a high level, and they need these things to happen to get them going in the right direction.
That is Wilmer Flores' first Citi Field home run since
walk-off.
The walk-off against the Nats at the end of July last year.
And Matt Cain knew it right away. Over the left shoulder. I've done that.
And Wilmer hit this home run to just about the same spot he hit that memorable home run against Washington. Rivera strikes out for the second out.
Just didn't pick at the jersey or pick at the Mets name this time.
He didn't have to prove it. he knows he's still a Met now.
Did you see that breath he took? I mean, just the 800-pound weight Off his shoulders.
Well, he had been 2 for 26 without an extra base hit to start the season, and that home run allows an albatross to fall off his shoulders. Eric Campbell will bat for Jacob DeGrom. Campbell struck out in his only at bat last night. 1 for 8 to start the season. So DeGrom, no earned runs today over his 6 innings. His ERA is down to 1.02 through his first 3 starts. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's very good, Gary. The walks will be troublesome when he looks at this start the next couple of days. He's going to have to tighten that up. And fastball command, because when I think of Jacob, that's one of his great strengths, his ability to pinpoint that fastball with movement. Wasn't able to do it today, or not the way he usually does it.
We did see a few 95s from DeGrom today, so the velocity was up a little bit.
Yeah.
One and 2 to Campbell. And he lines one, and Crawford snags it to end the inning. But Wilmer Flores gives himself a positive feeling with one big swing against Matt Cain. First home run of the year for Wilmer. Mets' second home run of the day. 6-2 New York as they go to the bullpen in the 7th. Baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. The New York State Health Department. Talk with your doctor for help quitting smoking, or call 1-866-NY-QUITS. And by the Better Network Verizon. Better matters. Get to Citi Field for Family Sunday, May 1st. Watch the Mets take on the Giants at 1:10. That's tomorrow. First 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a pair of Curtis Granderson baseball socks, courtesy of East Coast Power and Gas. With a large crowd expected, be sure to arrive early. Take the train to the game. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Introducing Jim Henderson. Well, these are the socks we've been talking about, the Curtis Granderson baseball socks.
Very nice.
They bear a striking resemblance to ones that Keith was wearing last week on a cold night.
Because he had cold feet, that's why.
Yes.
He broke it out early. Well, three days ago, Jim Henderson pitched the same inning, 7th, against the Cincinnati Reds following Matt Harvey, and had a clean inning with a couple of strikeouts. Looking for the same here today.
Facing Brandon Crawford, who's 0 for 2 today, struck out and fouled out. And Crawford fouls back the fastball, 1-2. Jacob DeGrom, 6 innings, 2 hits, 3 unearned runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. And a chance to go 3-0 on the season if the bullpen can continue to do what it's been doing, which is leading the National League. Best bullpen ERA, 2.57 coming into the day. That is a good looking uniform, isn't it?
I mean, their home uniform is, you know me, in colors, but it's off-white, right?
Off-white with no names on the back. It's a real classic.
Classic, and the one on the road with the full San Francisco is just, you love it. Great day in history for the San Francisco Giants. Willie Mays hit 4 home runs on this day.
In Milwaukee, right?
Yes.
County Stadium.
66, I believe. 61, sorry.
Henderson blows away Crawford for the first out.
I was asking some hitters about Jim Henderson and what's makes him so tough, and they said you really don't pick up the ball. It's almost like he's all arms and legs coming at you, and the ball comes out of a chute, so it's hard to pick his release point out.
There's Kelby Tomlinson. Tomlinson has hit a comebacker and struck out today. Connor Gillespie has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter for Matt Cain. Giants were held to 1 run and 9 hits last night, held to 3 unearned runs on 2 hits today. Pope foul. That one hit right off the end of the bat. I mean, the real end. There's the bullpen numbers we alluded to a moment ago. I don't think anybody had that in the pool when the year began. It was one of the areas of concern for this team, but through the first month of the season, it has gone as well as it possibly could have.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams on that list that you weren't sure. The Marlins were one of them because of some of the injuries that they've had to the bullpen, but they're up there in the top 5 too.
And the Marlins have already upgraded their bullpen by going to the minor leagues. They brought up the kid Barraclaw, who's going to be, he's going to be special.
Goes 100 right at times.
Well, the other kid we saw last September, Brian Ellington, also has a really good arm.
Duke, we call him.
He should be. He should get the A train to the big leagues sometime soon. One-two to Tomlinson. Got him looking. Back-to-back strikeouts for Henderson to start the 7th.
He's got an incredibly long stride, and when he is painting that fastball to right-handed hitters on that outside corner, almost impossible to hit because he throws across his body. So it looks almost like the ball's coming out of your shoulder if you're the hitter, your front left shoulder. And maybe got a little bit of the call from Paul Nart.
Now Connor Gillespie, who got a couple of at-bats yesterday off the bench, went 0 for 2.
The thing that really interests me, Gary, is when you look at these relievers that are in your bullpen and you try to figure out how do you max them out, when are they at their best. And early going in April, when Henderson has a little bit of rest, he's much better. Robles can throw every day.
Gillespie couldn't catch up with that fastball. 0-2. Just off the corner. Connor Gillespie, one-time first-round draft pick of the Giants. Traded him away to the White Sox. He was with Anaheim last year and now has made the full turn back to San Francisco. It's amazing how often that happens.
Right. I mean, the biggest example of that is Theo Epstein chasing Rizzo after trading him.
How about Kelly Johnson now on his 3rd tour of duty with the Braves, the team that first drafted him?
Boy, I mean, we've been doing this job long enough to remember Kelly Johnson when he was an infielder, just learning how to be an outfielder and then moving back and forth from position to position.
Mets drafted Jeremy Burnitz in the 1st round, traded him away, and he wound up full circle back with the Mets a 2nd go-round.
In those days, Atlanta had both Kelly Johnson and Ryan Langerhans, and you weren't sure which one was going to have a better career.
Pulled foul. How about Lee Mazzilli? Right?
Mazzo.
Traded away and wound up back with the Mets for a championship year.
That's one of my dear friendships, being close to Lee Mazzilli, just because of the whole evolution of how we became friends. I took the first dig, and then I've been giving the digs ever since.
Hubie Brooks came back for a 2nd tour with the Mets. Bobby Bonilla. It happens a lot.
Some will say too often, but I
sometimes first time is the best time.
A few more sliders from Henderson this afternoon.
Gillespie hits it toward the gap in left center, and he's got himself an extra base hit. So Connor Gillespie with his first hit of the season, a pinch hit double.
Well, nice hitting from Gillespie. When he was with the White Sox, it looked like he was going to be there for a while, but it didn't work out. Good fastball from Henderson, but just went with it and beat Cespedes to the gap. No batting gloves. Keith will be proud.
Just the 3rd hit of the afternoon for the Giants, and now Denard Span has gone 0 for 3. This is one of those games the Mets have led from the outset, and yet they don't have a comfortable lead.
Yeah, it's the lead's not big enough.
Bullpen quiet for the Mets right now. Terry Collins confident Henderson can get the 3rd out, but if Span gets on, that could change.
Well, this is one of those series when you look at it before it starts, you say, boy, it's a 50-50 on Sunday. So to win the series after the Mets took the first game, you win it today.
Edison Reed quickly to work. 1-1 to Span with Angel Pagan on deck. Grounded foul, and now Henderson ahead 1-2.
You know, it's interesting when you watch Rivera, because I haven't seen him catch a lot, is unlike Plawecki, who is young and just putting the fingers down and the target down, Rivera not only puts the fingers down, but then shows the pitcher where he wants the ball, whether he wants it running outside, low, high. He really works with the pitcher, gets into it. It's like kind of a rhythm to how he calls it and where he wants to pitch.
One-two to Span. Just missed. 96 from Henderson. That's one he wanted. 2-2. Gillespie at second with 2 out. Henderson 20 pitches deep in this 7th inning. And now a full count to Span.
Well, no mystery with Henderson, right? Best pitch is his fastball. 3-2 count. 3-run lead. He's going to challenge Span here.
3-2 coming. And a slow ground ball foul. figure this is Henderson's last batter. If Span were to get on, we'd probably see Reed to face Pagan. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming to Span, and he walked him, and now the Giants will get the tying run to the plate. So after Henderson struck out his first two batters, he gives up a double and a walk. Dan Warthen checking with the bullpen to see if Addison Reed is ready, and now Terry Collins will have to make a decision.
Well, he signaled to Rivera to go out and talk to Henderson for a while. It gives him a little time for the pitcher to get ready, Reed, and for Collins to decide, and it looks like he's made that decision.
He'll wait as long as he can to give Reed a couple of extra throws. I think in a perfect world, Terry would have liked to have saved Reed for the eighth, but it looks like he's going to go to him right now. So Henderson unable to seal the deal in the seventh. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Addison Reed on his way in. We'll be right back. River, Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, Williamsburg in the distance. Addison Reed looking to get the final out in the seventh.
Just like Jim Henderson, he pitched 3 days ago also, but got the save in that game that Matt Harvey started when Jay Reese-Familia was given the day off.
It was his first save of the year, his second as a Met. Angel Pagan will come up as the tying run in a 6-3 game. Pagan had an infield hit, scored a run on the Giants' 3-run third. Gillespie at second, Span at first with 2 down. And Reed's first pitch swung and missed. So Pagan was ready with intent.
Angel likes that ball a little away from him more. That ball crowded him up and in.
The Angels hit 2 home runs this year, both as a right-hand batter, one of them last night. It was the Giants' only run in their 13-1 loss. Ball and a strike to Pagan. Matt Duffy on deck. Addison Reed working with a whip of 0.75.
Well, he did a lot of hard work in spring training on that slider, especially to try to get on top of it, and I think it's helped his fastball also, getting a little more late movement.
One and one to Pagan, and Angel takes a strike at the knees. 1-2. Well, you set him up for the slider, haven't he?
Yes, he has. But you got to bury it down and in the dirt. You're ahead in the count. Don't give him anything that he can hit off the end of the bat for a base hit.
Pagan is 0 for 2 in his career against Reed. One-two coming. That's just outside. 2-2. Boy, there have been some very close pitches in this inning.
But Paul Nort's had a good strike zone. That ball's outside. You know, that's 4 or 5 inches outside. He's been spot on.
A mirror image.
Yes.
2 out, 2 on, 2-2 to Pagan.
Struck him out. Addison Reed gets a king size down in the top of the 7th. He blows away Angel Pagan. Stretch time at Citi Field, 6-3 New York.
New challengers. Think you can beat them at Mets Trivia? Audition for the next Beat the Booth from home. For details on how to video audition online for Beat the Booth, check out SNY.TV today. 6-3 back here. Mets winning in the bottom of the 7th inning. Nice job by Addison Reed with the strikeout of Pagan to end that inning. New pitcher for the Giants, Josh Osich. 12 games, nice ERA. One of the young left-handers in that bullpen for the Giants.
Giants are carrying 3 lefties right now in that 8-man bullpen. Curtis Granderson up for the 4th time today, 1 for 3 on the afternoon. Osich, who comes out of Oregon State, he was 3 years ahead of Michael Conforto, drafted in 2011, so they never played together with the Beavers.
One of the few big leaguers born in Idaho.
Boise born.
Harmon Killebrew?
I believe you're right. And now 3-0. Osich throwing hard, but having trouble throwing strikes, and that's been his problem so far this year. Now Dribble Cabrera on deck, and then Conforto, who's a triple shy of the cycle, so we'll have an all Oregon State matchup, two batters hence.
Osich 35 games last year for the Giants.
There's a strike, 3-1. So Matt Cain was able to make his way through 6 innings. Wasn't a stellar outing for him, but at least he gave Bruce Bochy some innings which he was unable to get from Peavy last night. 3-2 to Granderson.
Good sinking fastball there from Osich. You know, it's so important to find a left-hander that can replace Jeremy Affeldt, who was such a big part of this team. Down and in, hard sink.
Cain allowed 6 runs, 7 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts, 2 hit batsmen, 2 home runs. Broken bat. The bat goes past Osich. He's able to ignore it and make the play on Granderson.
I mean, this is getting as far in the kitchen as you can. That sinker again hits right up on the handle of Curtis Granderson. And you're just hoping as a hitter that that goes foul, but it doesn't. That little gold decal on his handle. That's exactly where the ball hit.
Osich better check his uniform for splinters. That whole thing was coming back at him. The barrel of the bat and a lot of the other pieces as well. So 1 out and nobody on now as Dribble Cabrera turns around about right-handed. 0 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch today. And he grounds one down to Duffy. Slight bobble, but a recovery to get him. 2 out. So now it's Conforto.
Well, his last at bat, you can see the ball he pulls on this left side. You can see the full belt buckle. The one he hit for a double over the head of Angel Pagan. You see less of his belt buckle, less of his uniform top. And that's the 2 differences, is opening up or not opening up to pull that baseball. Nice shot, guys.
Michael has 11 at bats against lefties this year. He's 3 for 11. His batting average up to 370 for the year, with his 3 for 3 today. And I guess it's obligatory to say he needs a triple for the cycle. You know how often in Major League Baseball that happens, that a guy is a triple short of a cycle?
Well, Lucas Duda was a triple short of a cycle already this year.
Slowly hit. Belt comes in to get it. And the flip to Osich, who has himself a 1-2-3 inning with 3 ground balls. 7 in the books at Citi Field. Mets up 6-3. Duffy takes a strike. It remains to be seen whether that's going to be, as Cespedes moves to left and Lagares comes into play center, whether that's going to be an enormous loss for the Nationals or whether they have enough pitching to go without Zimmerman and still be a postseason team.
Well, so far so good. It really depends on how much they get from Joe Ross, and they got plenty from him today.
Right. And Tanner Roark also.
15 punch outs 2 starts ago.
Addison Reed, who got the final out of the 7th, striking out Angel Pagan, staying on to pitch the 8th against the heart of the Giants batting order, Duffy, Posey, and Belt. Duffy's 0 for 3 today. And he flies 1 foul.
You know, we talked a little bit about Bruce Bochy trying to push his starters here to go more innings because his bullpen has some injuries. Dusty Baker's doing that in Washington too so far in April.
Jerry Blevins staying busy in the Mets bullpen with Belt 2 batters away. By the way, Matt Cain will not get a win today. It'll be the 18th straight April start in which Cain has not gotten a win, and that ties a major league record.
Wow.
18 straight starts in the month of April without a win. Danny Jackson, late 80s, early 90s, had a similar stretch. So what the Giants hope is that Cain, who's always been something of a slow starter, picks it up once the weather gets a little warmer. We'll see.
Hard for me to believe Danny Jackson couldn't win in April with that sinking fastball he had.
Down the right field line, Granderson toward the corner, but it goes foul. Verizon trivia question for today. Yoenis Cespedes, 6 RBIs in the 3rd inning yesterday. Who was the last to drive in 7 in an inning?
Whoa.
I know the last to get 6. But I don't know 7. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but they managed to squeeze some more people into the ballpark today. We have the largest regular season crowd in Citi Field history.
Really?
44,466 today.
Way to go, folks. You all want to be part of it. Gotta love it. Nothing better for a player, Gary, than playing in front of a sold-out house.
Another foul ball off the bat of Duffy. So you've got the agglomeration of 44,000 people, both the gnomed and the gnomeless.
That's right.
All huddled together.
I guess don't put your gnome down.
No. You hold on to that tight. It's like the golden gnome. And Duffy is certainly making Reed work. It's 10 pitches deep and still going in this at bat.
I think you're going to see records all summer long for this team. They've got a brilliant offense. They got those young pitchers. And they'll be in the hunt.
Well, it's not quite a D. Gordon 16-pitch marathon yet, but Matt Duffy is certainly getting his money's worth in this at bat.
Well, again, it kind of highlights what you were talking about before with the San Francisco Giant team. They'll just battle you.
Well, the Giants have struck out the fewest times of any team in the National League. They have struck out 8 times today, but that's a lot for them. And Reed finally misses with a slider, and Duffy has a leadoff walk. Well, that was well earned on the part of Matt Duffy.
Heck of an at bat by Duffy.
That is 6 walks by Met pitchers tonight after they walked 6 yesterday. So that's a troubling trend for a team that is still giving up the fewest walks in the league. So now Posey, who's 0 for 2 in a walk. And Reed catches the corner, 0-1.
interesting for Posey is that he has the classic stance once the ball's on its way, but to relieve the tension before that, kind of just rests the bat on his back shoulder.
And he laces a base hit to right field, and here come the Giants. They've got the first 2 men on in the 8th, and that'll get Brandon Belt to the plate as the tying run.
Smile by Posey there because Reed quick pitched him and he was ready to go. Quick pitched him, fastball up, and he jumped all over it.
So Terry Collins has Jerry Blevins ready in the bullpen. Here's the quick pitch.
It's almost an in-between quick pitch for Reed, though. He's not as quick as the other guys.
No, he can't do the true quick pitch.
That's
with
right.
a man on base. So Reed's going to be asked to stay in and face Belt, even though Blevins is ready in the bullpen. Tying run at the plate in a 6-3 game. And Belt takes outside. Belt has walked twice and flied out today, 0 for 1.
Well, interesting choice. You would think maybe he's doing this because Hunter Pence is on deck, and if it goes any further than that, Blevins will get Crawford. Although Crawford's hitting pretty well. No, he's not hitting that well against lefties, but he did last night against Mats.
And now Reed behind on Belt, 2-0. So Reed came in, got a huge out to end the 7th, but has not gotten it out here in the 8th. Hansel Robles up alongside Blevins, is all warmed up and ready to go. Duffy at second, Posey at first, and nobody out. Belt 1 for 5 in his career against Reed, who used to pitch in the National League West in Arizona. After Pence waiting on deck. Low. Rivera throws behind the runner, but getting back easily is Duffy.
Well, interesting that a guy new to a team would put that play on, but it makes sense. Why? Because they were teammates, Cabrera and Rivera, last year in Tampa Bay. So they have the little synchronicity working.
Well, a big pitch to make here for Addison Reed, behind on a power hitter Belt, 3-1. And Belt takes inside and low, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So 2 walks sandwiched around a Buster Posey single, and the Giants have the tying runs on base, nobody out, and Hunter Pence coming up. What is a manager to do? We saw Reed get a huge out in the 7th, but unable to get one here in the 8th. And Hansel Robles will come into the game to try and bail Reed out. So Robles will get the call. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 6-3 Mets in the 8th. We'll be right back.
because, with Henderson, if you give him enough rest, he seems to be better. We just saw Addison Reed come in and be on top of his game, but then sat down, came back out, was not. Robles earlier this season came in a bases-loaded situation and got a couple of strikeouts. So for a manager, when you're in that situation again, you go to someone who got you out of the jam before. That's why Robles is in.
It was against Miami a couple of weeks ago. Bases loaded, nobody out. Robles got a couple of strikeouts, and the Mets got through the inning. Hunter Pence, the batter, with the tying runs on base and nobody out. Pence a 2-run single back in the third, 1 for 2 on the day, and he takes a strike from Robles.
Little two-seam comebacker there by Robles. Nice pitch.
This is something new for all these Giants hitters. They only have one combined at bat against Robles in the big leagues. So Pence seeing him for the first time, flies one foul, and Robles ahead 0-2.
And two perfectly placed pitches down and away by Robles.
Hansel last pitched on Wednesday, a 1-2-3 inning with a couple of strikeouts against the Reds. Pence has the Giants' only grand slam this year. 0-2 coming, and he bounces the slider. Rivera equal to the task, 1-2.
When he's calling for a slider and he knows a chance to be in the dirt, he gets really wide. Why? Because he knows that it's lower to the ground, it's easier for him to get down, but also covers more area. Well schooled, Mr. Rivera.
Rene Rivera catching all these Met pitchers for the first time today. 1-2 to Pence. Fly ball center field. Back goes Lagares. Gets turned around. Finds it on the warning track and makes the catch. Tagging at third is Duffy. He comes in. Posey goes to third. A long sac fly by Pence to cut the Mets lead to 6-4.
Well, Hunter's probably used to this ball almost squared up, staying in the ballpark, in his home ballpark in San Francisco. But Lagares knew he had it all the time, and there's nothing really you want to do other than get that ball into second base. Posey, as soon as he saw Lagares was on his back foot, he's going to take the extra base. Lagares keeps the double play in order.
So Pence picks up his third RBI of the afternoon. It's now a 2-run game. Tying runs remain on base for Brandon Crawford. And again, the Mets will bypass the lefty in the bullpen and stay with the hard-throwing right-hander Robles. Crawford 0 for 3 today with a couple of strikeouts. And he takes a fastball strike.
You were mentioning before, Gary, Brandon Crawford last year, 21 home runs, so he's got some pop.
And he swings through the fastball 0-2. Now Crawford's off to a very rough start in RBI spots. He's 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position, and he's quickly behind in this at bat.
It's really this Giant team, right? Some of their best hitters are struggling with runners in scoring position.
That'll be Tomlinson on deck. First and third and 1 out. A run home here in the 8th. 0-2 from Robles, and it's fouled away.
This will really be, you'll be able to see the maturation or not of Hansel Robles. We saw last year he'd get ahead of hitters and he'd groove one. He's got the count in his favor. He does not need to throw a strike. He needs a strikeout here.
Crawford's already fanned twice today. And Rivera able to backhand that ball and keep it from going to the backstop.
Nice play by Rivera. He's sitting on that outside corner waiting for a fastball away, and Robles tugs it all the way across the plate. Nice backhand.
1-2 coming. This is inside. 2-2.
2 pitches in a row just lets you know that Robles is overthrowing, trying to throw too hard instead of hit his spot.
Two to Crawford. And he wouldn't bite on the slider, and now a full count. So Robles had him 2 strikes, overthrew a couple of fastballs, bounces a slider, and now it's a full count.
Just like Duffy to start this inning. Good at bat by Crawford.
Now, if you're Bochy, do you start Belt at first base to try and stay out of the double play, or do you fear the strikeout more?
I fear the strikeout because of the you're down by a couple of runs. You'd hate to have a strike him out, throw him out with a runner on third.
3-2 with 1 out. Not running. And Crawford pops one foul back this way.
You know, the issue for Bochy, he's got a short bench, Gary. You know, so if he wanted to hit for Tomlinson, would panic with the pulled groin. Difficult.
He does have an extra bat on that bench. Guy named Bumgarner.
That's right.
Who has 12 career home runs. 8th pitch of the at bat coming to Crawford. Just got a piece to foul back. A little emergency hack by Crawford to stay in the at bat. Well, we've seen some extended at bats from the Giants in this inning. It all started with Matt Duffy, who worked a 12 pitch at bat to draw a walk against Addison Reed to get this whole thing started.
It's like every team is trying to copy the World Series victors and play Kansas City baseball. The only team that can't play Kansas City baseball right now, Kansas City.
That's right. 9th pitch of the at bat to Crawford, and he pops another one foul. So Robles having trouble putting away Crawford, looking for the second out of the inning. The Giants have been held to just 4 hits today, but Met pitchers have walked 7. Most they've walked in a game this year. Again, the 3-2.
He drives one to right field. Granderson back on the warning track. Makes a stunning catch. Tagging at third is Posey. He comes in, but Curtis Granderson saves a run with a sparkling play a step in front of the wall. It's now 6-5 New York.
Boy, that's 2 balls in a row that could have gone out of the ballpark. Pence's, and here Crawford's almost hit too hard, never got up. And you see Granderson trying to feel for that wall, never could feel it, and with the jump at the end. The difficulty in that play is how hard that ball was hit to get back in time. Little fellow loves it.
He's happy. Boy, Robles fortunate. He's given up 2 long sacrifice flies. Mets still have the lead.
Tomlinson has a base hit, and that moves the tying run to second base. So after the 2 sac flies by Pence and Crawford, a first pitch hit for Kelby Tomlinson, and now the tying and lead runs are on base for the Giants. And Gregor Blanco will pinch hit.
Jumping all over that first pitch fastball. And with Blanco coming up, he had a double in last night's ball game.
And now Terry Collins is on his way out. He's got Blevins, who he's had up several times to face the left-hander. And the 3rd time being the charm. This time Terry will pull the trigger. Robles will come out and Blevins will come in. Pitching change brought to you by Empire City Casino. Mets trying to hang on in the 8th. We'll be right back. Jerry Blevins in to try and get one huge out in the 8th.
Well, I like to see that number there. Inherited runners stranded 7 of 8. He gave up a home run in last night's ball game to Angel Pagan.
Belt the tying run at second. Tomlinson the potential go-ahead run at first. Gregor Blanco the pinch hitter. 1 for 5 in his career against Blevins, and Blevins, who's never worked with Rene Rivera before, needs a conversation before he throws a pitch.
Well, they want to make sure they're on the right wavelength, what sign that they're using. So Blevins, usually when he comes in a game with Plawecki or Darnell, probably takes that for granted.
Well, the Giants have had some great at-bats today, and particularly in this inning. And now Blanco, who's a terrific pinch hitter, steps in. And takes the first pitch fastball for a strike. And if you're wondering why they're leaving Blanco in, Bruce Bochy has one right-handed bat on his bench in Trevor Brown. The other right-handed alternative, as we mentioned, is Bumgarner.
Trevor Brown, the catcher.
Blanco, the 7th man up in the inning. 2 runs have scored. And he goes after a pitch away, and it's 0-2.
That was a good cutting fastball from Jerry there. Straight fastball, first pitch, and he cut this one just enough to work it away from Blanco.
44,000 plus on their feet. To Blanco. Bouncing ball. Dude has got it. Side retired. Jerry Blevins gets one huge out in the top of the 8th. Mets bend but don't break. They lead 6-5. Game will take on the rising pitching star in the game. Madison Bumgarner, who had as good a postseason as anybody's ever had 2 years ago against Noah Syndergaard, who has blown him away in the early season. Bumgarner, Syndergaard, a matchup to savor tomorrow afternoon in the series' final game.
Well, knowing Madison Bumgarner, how low-key he is, I'm sure that he's just looking forward to the start. But if you're Noah, it's a chance to go up against one of the best pitchers in the game.
You're saying we might see some of those 101s?
Yeah, exactly.
Mets looking for some insurance as they come to bat in the bottom of the 8th. Hunter Strickland on in relief for the Giants.
Well, Strickland's a guy that throws awfully hard fastball, hard slider. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. Good control, 11 Ks in 8 1/3 innings pitched.
Yoenis Cespedes, after his heroics last night, has gone 0 for 3 today. A strikeout and 2 pop-ups. And he rolls over one down to third. Duffy on the move. 1 pitch and 1 out for Strickland on the bottom of the 8th. Here's your Mets box score brought to you by Ram. Michael Conforto, single, double, home run. He's driven in 3. Neil Walker, a broken bat single in the first, brought home 2. Wilmer Flores' home run is the difference in this game right now. His first of the year in the 6th inning put the Mets up 6-3. It's now 6-5. Lucas Duda, a walk and infield hit, 1 for 2 today.
You know, that opening shot we had Bumgarner coming out of the Kansas City bullpen, or the bullpen in Kansas City, before he pitched those 5 innings relief to get the Giants their 3rd World Series in the last 6 years. But it was Strickland who had the strangest postseason of anyone. He had a save in the game that went 18 innings in Washington. That's the game that Jordan Zimmerman started and was great for 8 2/3 innings. And then he gave up 6 home runs in the postseason.
6 home runs and 8 1/3 innings in that 2014 postseason. That was his baptism in the major leagues. Duda bounces the slider foul, 1-1.
It's a new pitch for Strickland there, the changeup. Good pitch.
But Strickland came back after that rough postseason, pitched in 55 games last year, pitched very well. Worked to a whip of .86. But as Ronnie said, not as good a start to this year. 1-2 to Duda with Walker on deck.
And he jams him, but Duda finds a space. And he beats out another infield hit. Just muscled by Duda.
And he found the grass between Tomlinson and Crawford for a base hit.
With those high socks and pants, Lucas makes like Ralph Garr today with a couple of infield hits. This one just well placed, and Duffy did a great job. Tomlinson of getting to it, but couldn't get anything on the throw.
Stumbling, bumbling. So Duda's aboard, and now Walker might be his final at bat in April. 9 home runs in the first month of the season, tying the Mets club record. Be a good time for number 10. Takes the changeup off the plate, but he went around. 0-1. Walker broke his bat, but dumped one into right for a 2-run hit in the first inning. Since then, he's grounded into a double play and struck out.
Good call by Gabe Morales, the third base umpire. He broke his wrist there.
Wilmer Flores on deck. And Walker skips out of the way. The ball goes to the backstop, and Duda down to second base. I don't know how that didn't hit Walker, but he did move his feet, and it's a wild pitch moving Duda along.
I thought it hit him.
He could actually hit the foot of the umpire.
Maybe that's the sound I heard. Yes, it was. Because usually you hear a sound even up here if the batter is hit.
So Paul Nart took the hit. And they're going to walk Walker intentionally now with first base open and work to Flores instead.
It's the right move. Bochy doesn't miss a thing.
So Flores, who homered his last time up, will get a chance to add some insurance for the Mets with 2 men on.
Mets keep this lead. Walker will be tied with other Mets heroes.
Well, what he hopes is that he doesn't get another at bat.
Exactly.
That will mean that bad things have happened in the interim. To answer our Verizon trivia question, last major league player to drive in 7 in an inning.
Wow.
Okay.
7 years ago. 6.5 years ago.
So here's Wilmer, who delivered his first extra base hit of the season, a home run into the M&M seats out in left center field in the 6th. Batting here with Duda at second, Walker at first, and 1 out. Mets up 6-5 in the 8th. And Wilmer fouls off the first pitch fastball.
Well, this was his last at bat. He jumped all over the first pitch from Kane. Little cutter away, but it stayed up on Matt. And Flores, a big hit for him here in April.
Kane gave up 2 home runs today to Conforto and to Flores. And Wilmer takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Rene Rivera, the catcher, is on deck. In the 9th, the Giants will have the top of the batting order coming up. Span, Pagan, and Duffy. Jerry's Familia getting set to face them, and the Mets sure could use a little cushion. Strickland ahead on Flores, 0-2. And Wilmer got one off the fists to foul it off. Been an entertaining game today. Mets took a 4-0 lead against Matt Cain in the first 2 innings. Flores' error led to 3 unearned runs against DeGrom in the 3rd, but the Mets added home runs by Conforto and Flores to go up 6-3 before the Giants rallied for 2 in the 8th. And Wilmer lays off the slider, 1-2.
That's what the Giants have done also, Gary, is that they've fought themselves back into this game after the 12-run inning put upon them last night. Resilient bunch.
Well, they're a good team who
Yes,
got a little embarrassed last night.
Happens to everyone.
Often happens to teams their first game coming east. 1-2. Flores again lays off the slider, 2-2. After Strickland, originally drafted by the Red Sox, traded to the Pirates, and then the Giants got him on waivers at the beginning of the 2013 season. And he has blossomed in a Giants uniform. Georgia native, one who got away from the Braves. 2-2. And Flores hits one past the mound, but Tomlinson is there to scoop to Crawford. No play at first. And they get the out on Walker as Duda moves to 3rd. 2 out.
The only way that could have been turned is if Strickland could have made a play on that ball. Just gets past him. And by the time Tomlinson gets to it, and Walker with the hard slide, you always have to watch to make sure he stays on second base.
Now Rene Rivera is coming up with 1st and 3rd and 2 out. Bruce Bochy is coming out. And I'm not sure what he intends to do. He doesn't have anybody up in the bullpen.
Is it what I was talking about? Did Walker keep the bag at second base?
So he wants to review it, you're saying?
That's my call.
So apparently that's what they're going to do, but it certainly looked as though Walker was right in the neighborhood.
Yeah, he wasn't going that hard, but let's see, once he gets past the bag, does his hand stay on it, or does he go past the bag?
No, he's right there. Come on.
Listen, stranger things have happened with this rule.
You could say his hand came off the bag, but
yeah,
that was after the play was over.
But they say that you have to retain the bag.
But his hand was on the bag until the play was over. And the thing that gets me about this rule is there is absolutely no attempt at turning a double play.
That's right. But the rule says retaining the bag. When do you have to retain the bag?
Well,
who knows?
Not forever.
How do you know that?
At some point the play's over and you're allowed to de-retain the bag.
Not forever. You're right. But
I mean, Crawford's already held the ball. The play's over. And he had his hand on the bag, and then he took his hand off the bag.
I agree. I'm in your corner. I'm just saying that at any time, whenever you make new rules, they can be interpreted in any way.
Well, it's the law of unintended consequences,
exactly.
Right? You write a rule, and then if you apply it, the letter of the rule, then you get consequences that you didn't intend, which makes the rule look absurd. And I'll say this, you know, the intent of the slide rule at second base is positive. If this gets called an interference play, then the rule should be abolished.
Well,
because that would be absurd.
We've also had some people that have had to slide short and not reach second base, and that's been asked to look at because they didn't retain the base. They never got to the base.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda Driving Matters. I mean, it was never the intent of the rule to call this an interference play. And they do not. Thank goodness. So the inning continues. Now the question is, you've got Rene Rivera coming up. The Mets have a left-handed bat on the bench in Alejandro De Aza. Would you bat De Aza and put Plawecki in for the ninth?
You definitely could do that. I think that he wants to give Plawecki the full day off and keep Rivera in there. The only issue you have is that you have a 6-5 game. Then if something happens, then you're stuck with one catcher for as long as the game lasts.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
When's the last time you saw that happen? That an emergency catcher had to be used because the second catcher got hurt.
I don't think I've ever seen it, but the emergency catcher after these catchers, isn't it Campbell, who's already out of the game?
Neil Walker.
Neil Walker.
Minor league catcher.
Have you asked him yet if he wants to go in there?
He's willing to do it. he's already told the manager he
has
in a pinch. Yeah, he has. It's not often the teams have two emergency catchers, but the Mets are blessed in that department.
Well, when Rivera gets a knock here, it'll be a moot point.
It would certainly be moot. Rivera's 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run back in the second. Duda at third. Flores at first with 2 out. And Rivera grounds one down to third. Duffy waits on it. And makes the throw on target. Side retired. So the Mets strand 2. Jerry's Familia will face the top of the batting order, trying to protect a 1-run lead in the ninth. On to try and protect a 6-5 lead in the ninth.
Conforto, this is something to smile about earlier. Great towering home run to right field. The little guy's happy.
Presented by AT&T Cricket Wireless. And the helmet remover is Dribble Cabrera doing his job.
With the low 10. I haven't seen a low 10 in a long time. Familia in. He hasn't pitched in 4 days. Got a save against the Cincinnati Reds.
That saved Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, the last 2 in 1, 2, 3 innings. Top of the batting order, Denard Span takes low and in for ball 1. Span 0 for 3 and a walk today. Met pitchers have walked 7. Giants got 2 in the 8th to get closer. Both of those runs charged to Addison Reed. Hansel Robles cut 2 long outs. Both were sac flies, and then Jerry Blevins got the big out to get the Mets through the 8th. And now Familia trying to lock it down. There's a strike, 1-1. Trying to save it for Jacob DeGrom, who went 6 innings, allowed just 2 hits and 3 unearned runs today. Angel Pagan on deck, then Matt Duffy. If anybody gets on, Buster Posey. Corners in against Span. And he laces one to left center for a base hit. Over to try and cut it off is Cespedes, and Span is not going to challenge that right arm. He'll stay at first base.
Well, nice hitting by Span. Gets a fastball that's pretty flat. Well, a little sink in it. A nice job by Span going the other way, and equally as good a job by Cespedes getting over there and showing off the rocket.
See how he hesitated a little bit. He was peeking him. He wanted him to go. Span wasn't going to take the bait, so the tying run is on. Angel Pagan at the plate. Pagan 1 for 4 today, an infield hit back in the 3rd. Struck out in a big spot to end the 7th against Addison Reed. Now facing Familia. Flores creeping in at 3rd looking for a bunt, but no bunt on. I don't know why you'd be bunting on the road down by 1 run.
And you've used a lot of bullpen also.
Flores was charging as though he was certain there was going to be a bunt.
Pagan has been in the first 2 games of the series swung the bat as well as anyone.
Now Flores will lay back. And Pagan takes outside, 2-0. And Familia working with Rivera for the first time, as are all these Met pitchers today, wants to chat.
Well, the interesting thing about Familia is that when you watch the Mets catchers, Rivera is one of those guys that likes to sit on the corner, almost split the corner of the plate right in the middle of his body. With Familia, you want him more on the plate because Familia's ball will move to the corners.
Behind on Pagan, 2-0. And Angel loses his helmet, not for the first time today. DeGrom had him swing out from under his helmet on a changeup back in the 1st inning.
He's going to have to replace the 7 3/4 with a 7 1/4.
Will grow his hair a little more. Two-1 from Familia. And an emergency hack, looked more like a 2-strike swing. Now it's 2-2 to Pagan.
Well, it happens when a 95-mile-an-hour sinker comes. It looks like a ball to approach, and then the bottom drops out.
Matt Duffy waiting on deck. It was Duffy's great at bat against Addison Reed that really began this Giants comeback. Span at first, can't forget about him. He can steal a base. Pagan lifts one foul. Coming up tonight at 10:30, Geico Sports Night, all the major league highlights, the wrap up of the draft, and the Islanders continue their playoff run. All on Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30 on SNY.
The Giants are only in this game because the at-bats they've taken with 2 strikes have been tremendous.
Span 3 stolen bases this year. Span carrying the tying run at first with nobody out. 2-2 to Angel Pagan.
Double play ball if they hurry. Cabrera with the turn. In time, double play. So quick in the middle as Dribble Cabrera and the Mets turn it over.
Well, it's something that maybe has lacked for the Mets the last couple of seasons. The ability to turn that huge double play when you gotta have it. And these two veterans have been great in April.
No question on the call at first, and anyway, the Giants don't have a challenge left. They used one in the last inning, and Familia appreciates the turn. And now the Giants are down to their final out with 2 out and nobody on, and Matt Duffy stepping in.
Again, a couple more outs for Familia on the ground. Good signs.
Duffy's 0 for 3 and a walk today. He scored 2 runs. And he gets tied in a knot for strike 1.
Well, it doesn't get much closer than this. We commented earlier how fast Pagan still gets down that line, but not fast enough.
Duffy was overmatched on that first pitch from Familia. He quick pitches him and he misses low and in. A ball and a strike. If Duffy can keep it going, Buster Posey would be next. 6-5 Mets, 9th inning.
Duffy bounces one behind the bag. That's where Flores is. The tag at first, and the ball game is over. Eight straight wins for the New York Mets. They score early. They get a couple more home runs from Conforto and Flores, and Familia hangs on for the save, and the Mets win it 6-5.
Well, an up and down effort for Jacob DeGrom. It didn't start great. His control was off, but he steadied the ship. Terry Collins mixed and matched it with the bullpen. Familia was outstanding in the 9th, and Conforto keeps trucking along.
Wilmer Flores throwing in a few scares along the way. It made a throwing error earlier in the game. He was right along the line in the right spot, but this throw offline as well.
Well, he double clutched. You know, when you're not in there every day, Gary, sometimes you get a little nervous. And that was a nervous throw there by Wilmer, but nice play by Lucas.
Familia getting the job done. Got the double play ball, got the ground ball from Duffy to end it, kept Posey on deck, and the Mets keep on rolling. 8 straight wins, 13 of 15, as they improve to 15-7 on the season. Jacob DeGrom 3-0, 1.02 over his first 3 starts of the year. Conforto and Flores with the home runs today for New York. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwellhealth.com/KIWH. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $37,500. A happy bunch of Mets with a late afternoon win, their 8th in a row. More coming up from Citi Field in just a moment.